Hello, welcome to Gist Books with Marie. I am Marie and I'm so glad you're here with me today. Let's gist. Today's gist will be about why you should read a book. I'm hoping with this video I can encourage you to begin to delve into books of any kind, any genre, and just have a good time. So let's gist. Number one reason why you should pick up a book is reading helps you escape the real world and just add some color to your life. Now, you've got to agree with me. We all put a number of hats, right? And sometimes those hats can become really heavy. But when you pick up a book, it's just an opportunity to just enjoy yourself, get lost in the world these authors create for us, and just enjoy the colors they have created. Go on holidays with the characters, experience how they maneuver relationships and work ethics and all of those things. And while you're escaping from your world, our very fast paced world, you realize that you actually will learn a thing or two. Which brings us to the next reason why we should pick a book. The number two reason is to be woke and to also improve empathy. Now, books teach us a number of things about different characters we do not come in contact with often around us. And when you read a book, you find yourself learning stuff about other people, why they are the way they are, and why they do the things they do. Let me give you a case in point, using myself as an example. I was recently reading Damilare Kuku's Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad. And forgive me, I'm very old school. And I was reading about this Instagram baddie. That was my first time coming around the word Instagram baddie. I'd never heard of it. And not long after that, I saw my brother scrolling through his phone and I saw this particular lady dressed skimpily. And I was like, why is she dressed like that in all her pictures? And he said, oh, she's an Instagram baddie. I'm like, what is Instagram baddie? And so he had to explain to me. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I became woke. Another reason is learning empathy. Now, let me give you another example, using myself as an example, of course. After reading Tomorrow I Become a Woman, I suddenly realized that sometimes you feel you can judge people, but the truth is, what you might be thinking is just wrong. Now, I've never been around anyone who's gone through or who's enduring an abusive relationship. And so every time I hear, oh, someone is going through it, I'm like, I'm sure she should have seen the sign, or he could have seen the sign when they were dating, and that just feels judgmental. But after reading Tomorrow I Become a Woman, I realized, oh, sometimes the signs are not even there. In Uju's case, the signs weren't there before marriage, they weren't even there after marriage. Something led to something, and her husband became the way he was. And so I have learned to be a little more empathetic, all thanks to that book. Another example is recently I read this short story that had to do with a character who is autistic. And I realized, having read that book, if I come around anyone in the autistic spectrum, I will be able to better relate with them rather than just feel pity for them, because they don't want to be pitied. What they want is inclusion. And I wouldn't have learned that if I did not read a book. So you see where I'm coming from? Reading actually gets you woke, like it did me, and also teaches you empathy. Reading helps you learn new things. I have learned a lot about finance, people with disabilities, AI, Bitcoins, all from reading books. And so I encourage people to read, because when you read books, you get to learn different things. Even from a novel, you will learn about characters who are in different spheres and different circles of the world, right? And you pick a thing or two. Reading novels or reading books generally will just help you broaden your horizon and get to learn new things. You learn about the economic and political milieu of other countries. And you have to agree with me, learning something new is always a bonus, no matter what you're learning. Another thing is reading stimulates thinking and problem solving skills. Now, I've realized when I read a mystery novel, I find myself trying to solve the mystery even before it ends, especially when I'm reading my Agatha Christie books. I'm always thinking, oh, he must have committed the murder and all of that. So, what I realize is your analytical thinking is being stimulated when you read a book, and reading would just help you solve problems and assimilate new information too. When you read books, you just make your brain, you use your brain more often, because what happens is there's so much blood flow to the brain, and that in itself is doing a lot for you. Another reason why you should read a book is reading improves your worldview. Now, when you read the same books over and over again, you're very certain and you remain in this small world, right? But as your reading taste increases and your genre broadens, that's the same way your worldview and your convictions are broadened as well. And it makes you also question your beliefs and your ideas on certain issues, and probably have to reform them if you must. And whether you like it or not, you just get smarter. So yes, reading makes you smarter as well. Also, reading improves your conversational skills. When we read books, your vocabularies get increased, you become more articulate, and you find yourself using new words correctly as well. I enjoy reading books for that one purpose. I know every time I read a Danielle Steele book, I always have to take away a lot of new words with me. And another good thing about learning these new words or being more articulate is you become a people person, because you're able to get into any conversation with anybody about anything. And in a way that increases your SQ, that's your social quotient. And everybody likes someone who can keep a conversation or hold a conversation. Reading takes you places. I mean, I love reading. I get to travel to places I have never been to. Like, for one, I've never been to Abakaliki. So having read Udemwe's The Widow Who Died with Flowers in Her Mouth, I can say I know a few places now in Abakaliki, and that's just within Nigeria. Now, reading would take you to other countries you've never been to, like France and Netherlands and Germany and all of those places, and you get to learn about the promenades and cafes and all of those interesting things that you normally would not know about unless you read a book. So you save yourself a lot of tickets, right? But you learn a lot. Reading reduces stress. We live in a fast-paced world. And it's not funny, sometimes you get home and you watch a movie and it's going all fast-paced. Imagine watching Fast and Furious, right? Everything is so furious, the sounds and the speed and all of it. But when you pick up a book, you get to relax. You just get to lose yourself in another world. And I mean, Ariel App, a literary student, has said reading is a mini vacation for your brain. And I do agree with her, because when you relax on your bed or on your couch and you're reading a novel, there's just so much peace and quiet about you. And I love that for a fact, that there's just, you tune out all the noise of the world when you're reading a book. Now, reading also reduces screen time. So for a lot of you who are thinking, I'm always on my phone, I want to stop being on my phone for so many hours. Well, reading a book helps. Reading forces you to focus your brain, and it also helps you form this deep concentration that you really wouldn't have been able to form when you're skimming through your phone. And that in itself helps your brain and exercises your brain and makes your brain and mind sharper. Reading increases your knowledge of history. Now, I particularly don't like, I love history, but I don't like the idea of being in a classroom and having to learn and cram all those dates. But whenever I pick up a historical novel, I find myself actually learning all the historical facts and concepts and even the dates without having to put myself through the pressure of feeling like I'm reading a textbook. So I like that for a fact. Reading increases your skill in an area of interest. Now, let's say you have an interest in finance. Like 2 years ago, I took up an interest in finance. I really wanted to do better with my savings, right? So rather than just pick up any kind of book, I'm not really one for serious books. I was able to pick up The Richest Man in Babylon. And after reading that, I read Arisel Gu's Smart Money Woman. And I can tell you for a fact, I've become a better person as far as saving and investment because of those books. And I was able to do it in a relaxed manner. Now, if you want to learn about herbs or you want to learn about tech, reading is always there for you. I also recently picked up the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I can say for a fact, as far as productivity goes, I think I've upped my game too, all thanks to reading a book. Another thing is reading inspires you. Now, whenever I read any kind of book, but especially my novels, I find myself inspired by the characters, whether they are astrophysicists or single mothers or pilots or just young people out there grinding and winning. I am inspired. And of course, when you pick up autobiographies, the inspirational level is on another height. It goes to another height. So reading will inspire you to be a better person and to do better things for yourself. You observe inspiring activities and you feel contagious passions when you read books that inspire you. Reading makes you a better writer. So if you're thinking of being a writer, pick up books, read more. Reading will help you with your relationships, because when you read, you see how people go through relationships, how they're able to mend relationships, or how they're able to better improve their relationships. So why not pick up a book if you're going through relationship issues? Because then you get to learn about the different characters, different people and their personalities, and how you can relate with them. Of course, there's a book titled Why People Act the Way They Do. That already is a book to pick up. Finally, reading a book is a very interesting way to add variety to your life. And books have been made so available in various forms. So if you do not have the hard copy or you're not down for hard copies, you can always pick up soft copies and read them on your tabs or phones. And what's more, they're audiobooks now. So do yourself a favor today and download audiobooks or buy a book and have fun reading, learning, and growing. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And I must add, I hope with these few points of mine, I have been able to convince you and not confuse you on reasons why you should pick up a book today. How many of you remember those days? I can't believe I'm saying that. So please let me know if you've enjoyed this video and if you've been inspired to pick up a book. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share this video, especially if you know someone you've been trying to encourage to pick up a book. Now they will know why they should pick a book up. Until I come your way again soon, do stay blessed, do stay reading, and do stay winning. Ciao.